analysis.
How is the assessment made what child deserves to eat and what child doesn't?
Hey everyone, welcome back. So you just saw a small part of that exchange, and let's be honest, this is exactly what we have come to expect from Ilhan Omar and the rest of the squad. It is all emotion, all heartstrings, and very few facts. She is very skilled at framing a debate in a way that makes the other person look like a villain, and what you are about to see is a full example of political theater where a good man, Mr. Volt, who is simply trying to talk about the budget, is painted as someone who wants to take food away from children. It is a bad faith argument from beginning to end. We are going to watch the full clip right now, and I want you to pay close attention. Do not only listen to the accusations, listen to the actual answers, and decide for yourself if what she claims is happening is actually happening. And if you are tired of political games and just want facts, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Now let's get into the full clip.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Van, for your testimony today. I wanted to talk a little bit about how your budget proposal is going to have impact on the millions of vulnerable children across this country. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the impact that I see that it will have, because I don't feel like you or this administration or Trump gets it. In America, 1 out of 5 children struggle with hunger. And for many of these children, the free lunch and breakfast that they get in school is often the only meal they get to have. Yet the budget that you're proposing, and this administration and Trump is proposing, makes a $1.7 billion cut from school meals over the next 10 years. A cut that largely would result in more than 29,000 children losing access to free school meals program in my home state of Minnesota alone. What this budget does is quite literally take food out of the mouths of children. How can these kids be expected to be present and fully present in classes, to learn in the same space as other kids? How can we expect them to reach their full potential? And how can we expect them to be able to be on the same footing as other kids around the world? I often say that budgets are a value statement, as you have many times in this committee. And you said that we are committed to having promises kept. What does this budget and your proposal in cutting the child nutrition programs say about the promises that we want to keep to children and where our values really are?
Thank you for the question, Congresswoman. We don't think that our budget cuts the programs that you refer to. Specifically, we think that it's important that high-income schools that are currently grouped together right now to receive benefits because they're grouped with low-income schools, that's unfair for the programs themselves. Similarly, some of the reductions that you've talked about are with regard to one-time rescissions that are not needed to be able to cover all of the children that we currently project. And we know Congress does these same analysis.
How is the assessment made what child deserves to eat and what child doesn't? My understanding is that we should care about every single child arriving in that school, having the resources that they need to be able to get educated and be fully present. We have parents who might fall off the threshold of whatever that income is, who might not be able to pack a lunch or a breakfast or milk or a cookie or an apple for their kids. Should those kids not be able to have meals in the school so that they can be fully present in that classroom? Is that what this administration values?
We believe it's important that communities that are otherwise ineligible to receive these types of benefits not receive these benefits, and that only the communities that are eligible receive them.
But how is the judgment of what the value of the benefits is made? We are talking about children in our classrooms. We are talking about America's most vulnerable. Earlier, you talked about the harvest box. You said if they are not home, that they should pay a price.
No, I didn't say
that. That was the example you used, that if you're not home, then you pay a fee.
No.
So what penalty would you think should we propose for people who might not be home to receive juice or cereal box or a canned meat.
I specifically was not referring to suggesting that they should pay a penalty. The point I was making, Congresswoman, is that we don't think that it matters where you are on the income scale to be able to determine a certain level of responsibility to receive in the mail that which you are expecting to receive in the mail. We think that human beings are responsible from that standpoint.
I get that.
Wow, just wowed, let's break this down because that was a lot. Right from the start, she uses the strongest emotional argument possible, saying that this budget takes food away from children. This is a common tactic because instead of debating policy, the goal is to make the other side look morally wrong so the facts never have to be addressed. She says she does not feel like this administration or Donald Trump understands the issue, but the reality is that Mr. Volt and Donald Trump understand it very clearly. They understand that government programs cannot operate like an endless bank account with no rules, and that idea is something she clearly disagrees with. She claims there is a $1.7 billion cut, and Mr. Volt immediately pushes back, explaining that the budget does not cut the program. He explains that the change focuses on high-income schools and wealthy districts that are grouped together with low-income schools and receiving benefits they should not be receiving. His argument is about stopping waste, fraud, and abuse, and making sure assistance goes to children who actually need it. He's talking about eligibility and fairness, not taking food away from anyone. But instead of addressing that point, she ignores it and returns to emotion, asking how the government decides which child deserves to eat and which child does not. That question completely twists what he is saying. He's discussing policy rules and numbers while she presents it as if he is personally deciding which child eats and which child does not. He turns policy discussion into drama, and that is pure political theater. Then comes another pivot when she brings up the harvest box issue and accuses him of saying people should pay a fee if they are not home. He has to stop her and correct the statement because that is not what he said. He explains that he was talking about responsibility when receiving a package, not penalties, but the conversation continues to move past his explanation. Throughout the entire exchange, Mr. Volt stays calm and respectful while continuing to focus on policy. He attempts again and again to bring the conversation back to facts and ends up being the most composed person in the room. She closes by comparing the defense budget to social spending, which is another common argument, comparing completely different priorities. The federal government's primary responsibility is national security, while the other side focuses on expanding programs without limits, accountability, or clear rules. This exchange captures the current political climate perfectly. One side, represented by the Trump administration, argues for fiscal responsibility and closing loopholes, while the other side focuses on emotional arguments and public confrontation. Volt stayed focused on the facts and refused to take the bait. What did you think? Was that deserves to eat question out of line? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.